So Jon Jones might be back on the old, if you know what I'm saying. Paddy Pimblett calls out Jared Gordon for a rematch, and also Marlon Vera calls out Piotr Jan after his loss to Corey Sandhagen. I'm going to talk about all of this and more on today's MMA News reaction video. Let's start straight away with Jon Jones potentially being back on the sauce. And not the usual sauce that Jon Jones takes to compete in MMA. I'm talking about maybe a bit of alcohol, maybe a little bit of the old snifferoonie, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of a dose here and there. Who knows? Couple picograms of that white gold, who knows? But Jon Jones has been tweeting out some very interesting things. Yeah. He's tweeted out some really interesting things and then deleted them afterwards as well. This is very interesting. He tweeted out the words, "Don't kill me, don't kill you either." Those were the first two. We're off to a really bad start here. And those were the first 2 out of 5. The weirdest things to tweet out he possibly ever could. So he's definitely on something. 100%. Otherwise, there's no reason he'd tweet that out there and then delete it afterwards. Clearly, he's feeling on top of the world after his win against Cyril Gane, and he's out enjoying himself. If you know what I'm saying. Don't kill me. Don't kill you either. Now, he might be drunk, thinking that he was texting his wife, and you know, now he's put it out on there on Twitter, and it was supposed to be a private conversation between him and his fiancée, and now it's out there for the world to see, so he deleted it. And he then went on to tweet some more, and these said, "Being nice conversation, a raise this year, Twitter says." It's like a weird coded language that we have to understand, but this does not bode well for Jon Jones. I think police need to keep a track of Jon Jones's Twitter. Now, I'm normally not for that type of thing. But let's just say the local police station, as soon as they saw that Jon Jones tweeted this, did a little patrol. You know what I'm saying? We need all units in Albuquerque, New Mexico to do a little patrol around Jonesville. You know what I'm saying? Around Jon Jones's neighborhood. Let's just see what he's up to. Why not? You know? We got nothing else to do. Not much is going on today. Not many crimes being committed. What's Jon Jones tweeting? "I need 8 cop cars immediately driving to his house. We must say, and we need an evacuation team for his wife." Let's be real, okay? Because this is some real risky stuff, and he deleted all of it afterwards as well. So I just thought I'd cover that on today's video, but man, not boding well. Not boding well. Don't kill me. Don't kill you either. Being nice conversation, a raise this year, Twitter says. It's like slam poetry. Slam poetry? Cynthia, like from 21 Jump Street. Being nice conversation, a raise this year. That's the weirdest part, right? Don't kill me, don't kill you either is a very weird one. I don't know why. It's almost like he's talking to himself. I don't know what's going on. This is some split personality type stuff here. But a raise this year is crazy. It's like a raise this year, like do wrong everything I've done right. You know what I mean? Undo all of the accomplishments so far this year and ruin it for yourself. A raise this year is the most worrying out of all of them if you're a Jon Jones fan. Then he says, Twitter says, and I think maybe after he typed Twitter says, he realized, I'm on Twitter right now. I'm tweeting this. I've got to delete this stuff. That was his last one before he deleted them. Being nice conversation. Oh, God, it's like a weird serial killer vibe. Really weird serial killer vibe. Very interesting from him there. We're going to move on to another topic in this video because I've run out of jokes about Jones, the police, his wife, and cocaine to make, in all honesty. So we're going to move on to another topic, which is Paddy Pimblett calling out Jared Gordon for a rematch. Now, I brought this up on my live stream earlier, and I'm actually A-okay with this. I want the rematch. I really want the rematch if, of course, Jared Gordon does beat Bobby Green, because Jared Gordon has a fight coming up soon. Which is against Bobby Green on a UFC Fight Night event. I believe it's on the Blades versus Pavlovich card, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. UFC Fight Night Blades versus Pavlovich, end of April, April 22nd. Jared Gordon versus Bobby Green. Apparently, Jared Gordon's been talking some ish about Paddy Pimblett in the media, and Pimblett didn't like it whatsoever, and he made a video on his YouTube channel talking about his surgery that he's going through right now to heal up his leg that he broke in the first round of that Jared Gordon fight. And, yeah, he didn't like what Jared Gordon said about him, so he called out Jared Gordon for a rematch and said, you beat me on my worst night, you know what I mean? And said he would beat him if not for that. So, yeah, and he still won, according to Pimblett. Of course, he didn't win that fight. Jared Gordon won the fight, but still, Pimblett's claiming that Gordon fought him on his worst night, and Pimblett still got the decision win against him, and he wants to beat him up again and see what happens when he's actually in peak form. And I honestly believe, yes or no, this is the perfect way for him to redeem himself. If Jared Gordon beats Bobby Green, which I don't think is going to happen, I think Bobby Green's got this one in the bag, if I'm honest with you. If Jared Gordon beats Bobby Green, I reckon if he gets on the mic and calls out Pimblett for a rematch and says, I'm going to finish you this time, if he gets a finish over Bobby Green with his grappling, who knows? I like that. I like the rematch because I don't want to see this just brushed over in MMA history. I don't want Paddy Pimblett to move on, or either one of them to move on with this weird asterisk on their record. Let's say Paddy Pimblett does become good and actually move up the rankings a little bit. Who knows? It's still a massive skid mark on his record, that win over Jared Gordon that we know isn't a win. Let's redeem that. He broke his foot in the first round of that fight, and he did because he's going through the surgery now, so fair play. He did break his foot in the first round, but he should have lost that fight. I don't think he's going to be a champion anyway. I'm not backing him up in any way here, but he did break his foot in the middle of that fight badly, and he still fought on to a decision. But I'm going to say, I need that rematch. Sign me up. I think that's the best thing you can do, especially if Jared Gordon gets a win over Bobby Green. If Bobby Green wins, maybe Pimblett fights Bobby Green. That'd be a great matchup. Then he can fight a guy who beat Jared Gordon and prove that he's not just as bad as he showed in his last Jared Gordon fight. But I want to see a rematch. I think it would be absolutely perfect. The build-up would be good. I think there'd be hype behind it. And I genuinely don't think Paddy Pimblett can reignite his hype unless he does right that wrong against Jared Gordon. Because if he moves on against another guy outside the rankings in the lightweight division or someone else inside the rankings, if he beats Dan Hooker, I bet you one of the top comments is going to be, still lost to Jared Gordon, no. Still lost to Jared Gordon, no. Doesn't matter, he lost to Jared Gordon. He's not undefeated in the UFC. If they try and promote him 5-0 in the UFC, Pimblett taking on a top 10 opponent, who knows? So he's not undefeated. Jared Gordon beat him. Clearly beat him. What a robbery, what a gift. Like, they need to right this wrong. I want the rematch between the two of them. And if Pimblett wants it, and Jared Gordon wants it, and Gordon gets on the mic potentially after a win against Bobby Green and says, I want this rematch, I'll finish you this time, and there's some beef this time around, and some heat, that's the perfect way to move on. If Jared Gordon wins that rematch, he now becomes a massive name, and everyone rallies behind him, not because they like him, because they hate Pimblett. It's the same thing as the Marlon Vera, Sean O'Malley superstardom for Vera at the beginning. People now like Vera and love his fighting style, I get it, but he did get a ton of fans just because people didn't like O'Malley and started following him because he was the guy who beat him. But if Pimblett wins the rematch, now we can move on. And we can say, you know what? He did, and people will all of a sudden have real clarity over the fight in the first place. You know what? He did break his foot in the first round. Let's say Pimblett goes out there, grabs a hold of Gordon, hip tosses him to the ground, and gets a rear naked choke on him. Not saying it's going to happen. I'd probably pick Gordon to win a rematch, maybe. Let's say he goes out there and flatline KOs him. In a scrap, Pimblett gets a KO win with an uppercut. Let's say he goes out there again, hip tosses him to the ground, gets the rear naked choke, finishes him brutally in the first round. All of a sudden we can move on and say, that was his worst night, and this is the real Pimblett, and hype can somewhat be restored. But not until I see that rematch. Let's make it happen. But if Bobby Green wins, I equally think he should call out Pimblett on the mic as well. Otherwise, it's looking like it's going to be Pimblett versus Dan Hooker on International Fight Week in July. Who knows? We move on to another topic, which is Marlon Vera calling out Petr Yan. I wanted to talk about this. I spoke about it in my Every Fight to Make Next video. I wanted to speak about it on this as well because Marlon Vera came out on Twitter Just going to check what he officially said, but he basically called out Piotr Jan. He came out and said, Jan, it's about time. So he's already plotting his next move. He didn't take too much damage off of Sandhagen. He never takes damage in fights. I don't know what he's made of, but a bunch of people are liking the comment and saying, yes, this is the fight. Let's go. And photoshopping him and Jan staring down against each other. Like, I don't want it. Not right now, man. And I've said this before. I would love this matchup. If they make this matchup and this is the direction that they go in, I don't have a problem with it. This is a great Apex Fight Night main event. This is a great addition to the main card of a pay-per-view at any time. This is amazing. An absolutely amazing fight. But I don't want the bantamweight top 5 to turn into a lightweight top 5 culture. Where other than when Gaethje took on Fiziev and Dariush took on Gamrot, before then, it was just top contenders fighting each other. You know what I mean? Over and over. And 2 losers in the top 5 would take on each other. And then the winner would get a top 5 opponent. And the loser might get another top 5 opponent coming off a loss. It was like that with Chandler, Gaethje, Poirier, Alvarez, McGregor in the mix as well at 155, getting his rematch against Poirier. It was just a massive logjam at the top of 155. And Fiziev had to get to number 6 in the rankings to even get that matchup with Gaethje. Gamrot had to work his way up, beat Sarukian to get his matchup with Dariush, and only then did the winner of that get put into the top 5 as well. I don't like that. I want to get some movement in the rankings. My left nostril is itching again. I think I need to trim my mustache on that side because it's tickling it. Either way, I don't like it. I love this matchup. I want it when they're both coming off wins. I don't want both of them coming off losses and we don't know if they're the same and they might have just got figured out. I don't like that. I want them both to fight an upcoming prospect that's going to be there in the bantamweight division real soon. We got 2 fights coming up soon on the very same card I just mentioned of Song Yadong versus Ricky Simone. On Pavlovich versus Blades, sorry. On Pavlovich versus Blades, we have Song Yadong versus Ricky Simone. That's at April 22nd. On April the 8th, on Pereira versus Adesanya 2, UFC 287, we have Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. They're going to fight each other if they don't fight top contenders. And we just lose in prospects. I don't think this is how it's going to go because I think Font's going to beat Yanez. But if Yanez wins and Song Yadong wins, they're going to end up fighting each other. And that's 2 young prospects that are going to get cancelled out in that division. I don't like that. I want to see the winner of Adrian Yanez versus Rob Font fight Piotr Jan. Then I want to see the winner of Ricky Simone versus Song Yadong fight Marlon Vera. If it's Song Yadong, which I believe it's going to be, then you get a rematch. Song Yadong has beaten Marlon Vera. You can't just have him, he has to really earn his way back up to the top. He had a better showing against Corey Sandhagen than Marlon Vera did. I know I don't agree with the Song Yadong Marlon Vera decision. I thought Vera got the 2nd and 3rd round, although it is close. But he does have a win over him on paper. And he looked better against Sandhagen than Marlon Vera did. So I want to see Yadong get that chance. He has leverage for it. He deserves it. And if he beats Ricky Simone, that's a dangerous guy he's just beat. Let's reward these prospects rather than having them just go through the absolute meat grinder against each other non-stop until one of them somehow gets placed at number 5 and then they get a top 5 opponent. It just becomes silly and it becomes lightweight. And there was a problem for a long time. And Sarukian's now fighting Moicano. Sarukian should be fighting Poirier. But no, we're waiting and now we're going to do Poirier Gaethje 2, which I love, but you get the problem. There's no movement anymore. I want the movement. I want Song Yadong, if he beats Ricky Simone, to fight Marlon Vera. And get that chance. You know what I mean? Then I want the winner of Font versus Yanez to fight Piotr Jan. And if then, and by the way, this could be likely, in both of those main event of a fight nights that those bouts would be, Jan versus Font, Jan versus Adrian Yanez, Vera versus Song Yadong, Vera versus Ricky Simone. In both those big fights, if Vera and Jan come out on top, and they remain in the top 5 and they're both coming off wins, then they deserve a top 5 opponent against each other. You don't lose in the top 5 and then get another top 5. We gotta stop this. So if they both beat their each respected contenders on the come up and bounce back and we see Jan and Vera coming off a win, match them up together, winner gets a title shot, or winner gets a title elimination bout in the division. That's what I would like to see. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip, I'll see you later. Goodbye. Am I making myself clear? I think I am making myself clear. Okay? But I like that Marlon Vera is immediately after his loss thinking about what's next. He clearly had a call out in mind if he won. Maybe he would have called out Sean O'Malley, so he's looking to get right back to it. You know Marlon Vera likes to stay active as well, so I don't see him being out for too long. He fights very, very often, it seems. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back in there. But Petr Yan's going to need a little bit of time. Both of them should take some time. And then come back in July against each contender each. And if they both win, then we make the matchup. That's my opinion on the topic. Other than that, Jon Jones. Hey, local police station. Wherever Jon Jones lives. We need a platoon of 10 squad cars out and about. Okay? And an evac team for his wife immediately. See you later. Goodbye.